All right, TGI Friday. Let me start with get well soon to Nick Baracco, the head of the Baracco family and owner of Baracco's Pizza. Not only a giant law enforcement supporter and first responder supporter, but clearly a anchor in the communities of Mount Greenwood, Evergreen Park, Beverly, Tinley Park now. So, Nick, get well soon. Sadly, he was viciously attacked by a bunch of drunk cowards and sucker punched. And as expected, the families of the offenders, not my baby. We all know that routine. Wasn't my baby. There's always an excuse for the ignorant, drunken behavior of fools, regardless of their age. Onward we go. Lodge business. Pride Parade coming up. Many of you, we've gotten phone calls, I know, are disgruntled because of senior officers being deployed. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in there, but let me just start with Pride Parade. There's been 2 deployments, basically a start time for the people working the parade itself, and then there's a staggered start time later in the afternoon for the anticipated ridiculousness that always occurs after this parade because people don't know how to behave on Broadway and Clark Street. Especially after this parade. Every year it happens without fail. And apparently there's some possibilities of expectations of other issues across the city, possibly where they wanted officers trained in field force to be deployed, I guess, as a test for the convention coming up. But we're kind of hamstrung about doing anything or much about it because of the management rights clause, and gives them the ability to operate the department as they see fit. But the cancellations of days off arbitrarily have already begun. With NASCAR coming up next week, it's not going to end anytime soon. Specific to NASCAR, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to President Pat Cleary of Local 2. We applied for a protest permit along Michigan Avenue from Roosevelt Road to Madison and back. The protest will take place from 11 to 1 o'clock on Saturday with the NASCAR crowd there, and it's very specific. It's basically protesting Mayor Johnson's labor policies and lack thereof. The fact that the firefighters have not had a contract for 3 years, the fact that this mayor has violated routinely several provisions of the contract that he just negotiated. And on the mayor's front, Wednesday, this has nothing to do with the speaker. We have a great relationship. The speaker hosted a Juneteenth celebration in the Western Burbs. We happily went out there to participate, bring the trailer, and kind of spread some fraternalism and, help out the community and the speaker at his function. Well, the mayor decided to show up. And after a photo op, the arrogance of this man to sit there and shake my hand and try and flex on me by saying, "How do you like that contract? You're welcome." I mean, this guy is absolutely ridiculous when it was his attorneys who came and said, the mayor wants an extension and we're willing to pay for it to get it off his campaign re-election in 2027. That's how much he thinks of himself. And I'll remind everybody that even though our contract numbers are locked in, the same numbers apply to the supervisors' PBPA contract for sergeants, lieutenants, and captains in Chicago Police Department and in the fire department Local 2 because of the Me Too clause. But what does this mayor do? He holds it hostage, knowing he has to pay them that number at the very least. You'd think the smart thing to do would be pay them effective immediately in January so you wouldn't have a retro calculator clicking away. But nope. Hold it and use it as a hostage tool for negotiations. So it's just one thing after another with this mayor. A message needs to be sent that we are not going to take it laying down, and we have never been more united than we are currently at this moment with our brothers and sisters at the fire department, and we're going to make some noise at that NASCAR rally. I can assure you of that, and that will be the beginning of the protest because there will be more as we get closer to the DNC and even with the DNC. So if you support the police, if you are an active or retired officer or firefighter who happen to be off that day, please consider joining us. There will be transportation from Local 2's lodge, I should say, their Union Hall, and our lodge over on Washington Boulevard to at least as close as we can get to the protest site. Call the lodge for more information coming up starting on Monday morning. one last little bit of note, and I was about the days off cancellations. It was brought to my attention yesterday and reconfirmed again today that a exempt rank member whose name I mentioned last week is really on the warpath at this point, and apparently a little insulted that I mentioned him by name. Well, I'm going to do it again because clearly this member wants war and didn't get any education from the previous administration. If he thinks this union and we and me are going to lay down and just roll over and play dead for him, he's out of his damn mind. I was warned repeatedly when he was named Chief of Patrol that John Hine was out for nobody else but himself. And John Hine is proven to be just that person, exactly who everybody told me and warned me that he was. John Hine yesterday in an exempt meeting basically said to exempt rank members in the room, cancel whoever's days off you need to. I don't give a damn. Hell with the union. Let them file a grievance. We'll worry about it later. That's the mindset that this department has. So sadly, new department, new head, same games, different faces. And unless the superintendent reins this nonsense in, morale is about to start fading away really fast 2 months before a huge convention that is going to turn this city upside down on its head is going to be knocking on its doorstep. And again, it never had to be this way, but John Hine, you chose war. Remember that. It was you that decided this. It was you that decided that labor and contract provisions do not matter. Not once, but twice now. So consider yourself informed. It's on. Have a good weekend.